Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Monday, December 9th, and in between Celtics games, long break between Celtics games. I jumped on here today and had so I looked at myself in the camera and I was like, why do I look weird today? I don't think I've worn gray in a long time, and I don't know why it looked weird to me, but I had an out of body moment. I'm like, who the fuck? Why do I look like that? I was like, well, I was looking at myself, and I didn't have my headphones on either, so I was looking and I was like, why do I look different than normal? And I don't know how to explain it, but
It is weird seeing you with no headphones on here.
I know, right? I don't look like
You look like you're
what I
missing
should.
part of your head. Not that you can hear me. I said
I
it
know.
looks like you're missing part of your head.
I know. It's very weird. So I jumped in here and I looked at the for those who don't know StreamYard, we have little bubbles at the bottom for I can take myself like that, et cetera, right? And I saw myself in the little bubble. I was like, why do I look like that?
Start doing
But
the face.
yeah, I know.
We always seem
anyways,
to match. I feel like more
I know.
shows than not, especially when we're not at the game, we're wearing the same color.
I don't wear gray, so it's even more baffling that you decided to wear it today, and I just magically have it on. I own one gray sweatshirt, and this is it, and it's been hanging in my closet. And the only reason I put it on is because I had to do laundry today, and I needed to go out and move my car and get milk and stuff, and so I just threw one on. But I spilled coffee on it too, unfortunately.
It's good that you had coffee.
Anyways, how you doing? What's up, Sam?
Doing good. Nice little break here from games, but we're here nonetheless. We have an exciting show for you guys today. Jack went up to Maine, so you guys will hear about how that went yesterday. We have a mock trade that's going to upset me. I have not seen it yet. We have some concerns about the Celtics, and I'm sick and tired of hearing people cry about the threes. So we're going to go around the rest of the NBA as well. But make sure you subscribe, leave a like, comment. We are here every single morning with new stuff for you. Full pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps morning after each game. Other videos are up in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's jump right into it. Let's go to Maine. I was up in Maine for Sunday's game against the Greenboro Swarm. Really, really entertaining game. Celtics got a bit stomped in the first half. They looked, to put it in no kinder words, they looked lifeless. They looked like they weren't trying. It was a very boring game. Context as well, Greensboro only had 8 players available to play because of injuries, and all of their two-way guys are playing in Charlotte. So Evans, who was the PR guy, came up to me and Noah, and he was like, I don't want to jinx it, but could be an easy win. Down 12 at halftime. It was just like, damn. All right. So third quarter comes around, and Tyler Lashbrook, who's the head coach up in Maine, starts with a different starting lineup. I think they started something weird because Jay Scrubb was out, Ron Harper was out, and Demetrius Skapinson was out. So they started with Kavion Pippen, Scottie Pippen's nephew, as the starting center. Tristan Enaruna started, as did JD Davison, Drew Peterson, and Anton Watson. So they went with that, I believe, and they got rolled. And so they came out the second half and they put Baylor Shireman and Jordan Walsh on the floor. And they were just I don't know, it was one of those things where I was sitting there this is a different team. They were sprinting, they were hustling, they were beating the Hornets to the Swarm, to every loose ball. It was just oh my God. They came out with such a clear, it was clear that Tyler took him in the locker room and was like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Get your head out of your ass, play some basketball. And in no kinder words, Jordan Walsh told us after the game that he was like, yeah, he told us to cut the shit effectively. Pretty much said, what are you doing? That's not Celtics basketball. And then they did it. They came back and it went to OT. So OT in the G League is Elam ending. So it was the first one to score 7 points. So they ended regulation 102-102. First one to 109 wins. They get down to it. JD Davison hits 2 threes to give them put them at 108. They were up by 3, so it was 106-108 because JD Davison missed a shot. And so they intentionally fouled, right? Because they didn't want to give the Swarm a chance to hit a 3 and tie the game. And so the Swarm went to the line, hit both free throws. It was a tie game. And they missed the shot, right? The Maine Celtics didn't hit the shot they wanted. They turned it over. Swarm called a timeout. and they're running their inbounds play. And I'm going to pull it up here because I think it was posted to Twitter.
Okay. Hold it up.
They were running their inbound play. They set a screen. Sorry, I'm trying to find the clip. And Anton Watson rushed the play, and he got a steal. They called a foul. And then Tyler Lashbrook was mad and got a tech. And so the Swarm had 3 free throws to make 1 to win the game. They made the first one, game over. This was the play. Needless to say, people were not pleased. This was the game-deciding play that the refs called a foul, put the Swarm to the line for a chance to win the game. Anton Watson rushed it. A lot of ball. lot of ball. Almost all ball, some would say. They called the foul. And the best part is, so if you're watching on YouTube, you'll understand this. I'll color commentate for those listening. They go here, Anton Watson strips the ball falls down, catches it, foul called there. They didn't call it.
That's terrible.
They didn't call it till he was about to dribble the ball at half court. Now the context is, if Anton Watson gets a steal and dunks, the Celtics win the game. Didn't, so they didn't. People were displeased. Baylor Shireman came over to the monitor that was right in front of us, took a look at the play and gave one of these. He was like, I don't know about that one. I think that's pretty bad. Which I can pull up that clip as well, because we were literally sitting right there, and Noah put this clip on the screen of Baylor Shireman like peeking his head at the monitor for the broadcast, looking at the play. Not thrilled. Everyone, they all talked about it after the game. I asked them, and they were like, yeah, I mean, Baylor was like, I didn't really see it, but then I saw the angle. I don't know. It didn't look to me. Jordan Walsh was like, I didn't even know what happened because he was in the play. And he was like, I just saw Anton Watson. I screamed, dunk that shit. And then he realized there was a foul. Tyler Lashbrook said kindly, he kindly disagreed with the call. And we went from there. But it was an entertaining game. Just they got hosed. They got owed.
It's gonna happen every once in a while. You have it's the G League for the refs too. They're learning how to call the game correctly. And they can't challenge that. Did they lose a challenge? They now have challenges.
They didn't have challenges left. Well, they get two challenges in the G League, but they use them both.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm a fan of the G League's overtime rule. I think that's kind of fun. I think it makes it a little bit of high pressure type deal. The target score is an interesting way to play basketball. I don't think I want the NBA to take that on. I think the free throw thing that they do is also creative, but I am not sure I would want the NBA to get rid of free throws, even though it would make it a little bit more meaningful when you go to the free throw line.
It does go away in the Elam ending for what it's worth. Like they shoot all the free
does.
throws in the Elam ending. So it is like in the regular, or what was I going to say? In regulation, excuse me, Jesus. It is 1 free throw for all of the points, whether it's 2 or 3. And in Elam ending, it is just going back to the normal rule. I don't know if it changes in the last 2 minutes too. That would make sense, but I don't know if it does. But yeah. So
I don't know how I feel about that. But it's cool you guys got to go up there. There was a big storyline that came from the game was Jordan Walsh wanted to be up there. Noah wrote about it. I'm sure you wrote about it. And I think personally that says a lot about him being like, yeah, like let me go play it up in Maine, get some reps in and, you know, get comfortable coming off the bench up there, which is a bizarre thing for Maine to do with a guy that he's not even on a 2-week deal. He's on a regular standard contract. So usually
Jordan Walsh,
guys, yeah.
Neither is Shireman.
Yeah. So, but like when those guys go up there, usually you expect them to take bulk of the minutes, play a lot of the extra responsibilities and everything like that. And for him to just be like, yeah, I'll go up and kind of volunteer to come off the bench or just be cool with it is a big thing about his character to me.
You know, it was great. He was just like, I wanted to play in some games. I hadn't been playing a lot lately, so I wanted to get in this one. And it was good. He played 29 minutes. He shot 8 of 12, 3-7. He looked really good, was hitting his shots, was shooting with confidence. Big energy guy. He had a ridiculous play at the end of regulation. The Swarm took a shot, missed the rebound, and the Celtics had a chance to like go down and throw like a Peyton Pritchard heave up. Excuse me, but the Swarm got the offensive rebound. And as the Swarm were like putting up their own sort of heave, it didn't end up counting because it was after the buzzer. But Jordan Walsh, like, for lack of a better term, just like underhand swatted it 10 rows back into the stands, just like, bah, and it just went like I said, 10 rows deep. And he was just like, get the fuck out of here. Right. And it didn't count as a block or a steal or anything because it was technically after the buzzer. But it was just like, oh my God. that was like a cartoonish block that he had on this guy.
The G League also has the heave rule. I remember writing about that before the season where those shots are not counted against each player's field goal percentage. So they are more encouraged to take the Peyton Pritchard shot. So Jack got a live example of Peyton Pritchard changing the game, even though technically the shot didn't go off before the buzzer. So it's actually not even in line with what the rule change was or what the goal of the rule change was. But the G League is trying their best to implement that. And I think that should be a rule that goes towards the NBA. It just makes a lot more sense. I think that guys are so hesitant to fire up those shots and they make for such exciting moments when they go in. So they shouldn't they should not they should shelter them. Yeah, they should shelter them from the fear of having a missed shot go to their total.
I was like, where are you going with this? I was confused.
Yeah, I got stuck.
You're losing
Stalled
me.
out.
Yeah, it was fun. Baylor Shireman also looked really good in this game. That dude never stops running. He still needs to work on his defense. He gets blown by a little too easily. He misses rotations from time to time. Like, it is a work in progress. But like, I've never seen a guy run harder to get around a screen than Baylor Shireman in the G League. Like, if he gets screened, he looks like he is about to like die on that court with how hard he wants to get around the screen. So if nothing else, he is trying. He shot 6 of 12, 2 of 8, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. He's pretty good. One of the better players, I would say. Him and Walsh were, I'd say, the two best players, although J.D. Davison was unconscious later in the game, so he was pretty damn good as well. Anton Watson looked all right. Threes still aren't going down at a super high rate, but he's taking them. He's confident in taking them, and they're empowering him to take them, so that's a good thing. Drew Peterson, pretty rough game until the fourth quarter. He looked good in the fourth, but up to that, he was sort of all over the place, not getting a lot of shots, not making a lot of shots, but pretty good game overall for a lot of the guys people are paying attention to the most.
Yeah, I think that anytime we get a day off from Celtics, when they have a Maine Celtics game that day, it's always great because one, more people can watch, but two, the guys can go up there and get reps. They don't have to be away from the Boston Celtics to go up and play with Maine. They don't really lose out on any of that experience. So it's always a good thing. And that's what the G League is for. Like last year, getting to go up there for the finals and like having the team lose and come up short, it really didn't matter because they had gotten so much better. They had improved. They had used that as the sandbox that it is meant to be. And it's done a great service for the Celtics. They have the banner up in the expo with all of the former Maine Celtics that have been signed to NBA contracts, like Luke Cornetta's up there. Hauser, I don't know if he was a exclusive Maine guy first, but he's certainly spent time up there. And that is just going to have to continue to be part of Boston's team building because of the new CBA. I talk about it all the time on the show. They have to find diamonds in the rough now. This is what teams have to do. So if there's any time for anybody to start caring about the G League, you guys should all start doing it now.
Yeah. It's fun to get up there. It's fun to watch. And I encourage everybody to watch the Maine games. But next thing is something you haven't seen yet. It's a trade idea that I saw that we don't have to spend a lot of time on at all. But I thought it was entertaining because it's like one of the first things that came up when I searched like Celtics looking for stuff today. It is Lakers could land former Celtics fan favorite by parting with $53 million guard duo. Can you make out what the trade proposal is based on that?
D'Angelo Russell.
Mm-hmm. And Jalen Hood Schiff. No, you're not going to get that part.
Okay. For Marcus or Rob.
Correct. Marcus.
Yeah, that'd be terrible. I would never want that. I mean, we can talk about Marcus a little bit because I don't know how much we talked about him after the game. But Jay King did a great article talking about Marcus's return to Boston. And some interesting tidbits in there. Marcus brought his 2-month-old son to the arena far beyond or before when the game got rolling. They obviously didn't want the baby in there with all of the noise that was going to be going on. But it's pretty cool that he felt it was important to get his son Zane exposed to the Celtic lore, like get him out to the garden. Like this is literally what was said. I'm not just like hyperbolizing this. Marcus told Jay King it's going to be something when he grows up, I can show him and he can understand it as he gets older. One day he can understand, he can see the impact his dad had on the city and on the team where he started his journey. And to we don't get to enjoy nights like Saturday very often. It's not a common occurrence for a great Celtic to be either traded or walk away and then come back. But when it happens, it's always a fun time. And whatever you think of him as a skilled player, like how impactful he is to the game, there are people that didn't like Marcus. I don't really know if there's denying that he was a great Celtic, like did a lot of good work off the floor. He was given a Heroes Among Us welcome back last year when he came in February, I guess earlier this year, last season. And, there's a reason why people care for him so much. He got a standing ovation Saturday. So it was really fun to see. It's too bad that he didn't play better. If the Celtics were going to lose, it probably would have been more fun if he was the one doing all of the scoring instead of being 1 of 11 for 3 points. But yeah, everybody had good things to say about Marcus. Not a surprise.
Yeah, I love Marcus, obviously. I mean, he was probably as famous or as popular as you can be in a city without like making an all-star team, winning a championship, et cetera, like for the level of player he was. Isaiah Thomas is probably the next closest thing, but he at least, like, he was an all-star, he was in MVP conversations, like he was the guy. So it's great to see him get the love that he deserved when he came back and actually played. Like you said, would have been cool if he was a little better, made a few shots, because I think the crowd would have popped a little bit if he was making some. But it's great to see him back in Boston, and I do. Part of me hopes he gets. I don't know. Hope he gets traded, because I think he's fine in Memphis. I think he has a good role in Memphis, and they could be good. But
Likeable
if
team.
there were a team, what do you say?
Likeable team.
Yeah, they're fine. If you were to win it, or if the Celtics weren't to win it all again, though, it would be cool to see Marcus be on a team that can do that.
Yeah.
Because that would be a team I'd be rooting for. So maybe Memphis can get there, but I don't know if I'm
Memphis has
in on
been
them as a
good.
contender this year. I'm not in on them as a contender this year, though. But anyways, good for Marcus. Trade to the Lakers probably wouldn't be ideal, but
Well,
next
that's
thing,
not going to bring him any closer to a championship.
no, it's not. I do have to quickly do something, which is remind you listening about Prize Picks, because Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long with Prize Picks. Sam and I use the Prize Picks every single pregame show. Noah's seen it on his screen every single time we're running through the picks, having the live chatters. Decide more or less. We love taking the more on opposing players' turnovers. We love taking the more on points, on blocks, all that fun stuff. I love the blocks for Drew Holiday and Derek White, because Derek White's going to get one. It adds a little bit of juice to your point when you see it in action. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks is the best way to get action on sports in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. And PrizePicks now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Next thing is the Celtics defense is not amazing this year. You put this on the sheet, so I'll let you intro whatever it was.
Yeah, so particularly over the last 3 games, the Celtics defense has taken a step back. There was a period here where the defense was a top 10 defense in the NBA. I'm loading it up now just to double check to see if it still is. But in the last 3 games, it certainly isn't. The Celtics were 23rd best in defensive rating. No, in opponents' 3 points made. They were 28th in opponent 3-point percentage and 20th in opposing points per game over their last 3 against Detroit, Milwaukee, and Memphis. And I wasn't tripping. They're 23rd best in the NBA. Now, I think the Detroit game has a lot to do with this. I was not quite all the way here for the Detroit game. I was injured that day. I was sitting on the couch in a little bit of pain, but they gave up a lot of points to the Pistons. The Pistons made a push late in the game. Like, I think the numbers in that game might lie a little bit. I thought their defense was pretty good against Milwaukee on Friday. And then against Memphis, they really couldn't catch much of a break. On the season, the Celtics are 10th in defense, so it's not awful. They're still in the top third of the NBA. They are the second best defensive team in the Eastern Conference, believe it or not. Only Cleveland is better. The rest of the teams are Western Conference teams. Oh, no, that's not true. Orlando is third. I missed them. But there's a lot of teams that are close around that 10 spot, too. I think fatigue might have had a little bit to do with these 3 games being what they were defensively, specifically Saturday night's game. And I said it on the recap. They didn't play like a team, aside from missing threes, that was on the last leg of a long stretch of games. Like, they still pushed back despite being down 14 in the second half. They took a lead. They didn't win, but they still did the things that were necessary. They went above and beyond to get themselves back into that game, and I think it says a lot about the team's character. I do think the defense has room to improve. I think it was a big part of what made them great last year. I think they were second or third in defense at the end of the season. And for them to get, I don't want to say back to the championship level because they are still playing at the same pace that they were playing last year. Like, you can't be like, oh, they're considerably worse, but they're not like killing teams anymore. I don't know what the point differential is compared to last season. I'm not entirely worried about that. I think it's almost more important that they're winning tight games because that, especially, as you get deeper into the playoffs, becomes a very real thing. And it was what separated them from Indiana in a 4-game sweep that was really a lot closer than a sweep would tell you.
Mm-hmm.
It matters that they can win close games, but I would like to see them lock in on defense a bit more. I think that's kind of what did them in against Memphis at the end because they couldn't really get a stop.
Yeah, that was definitely part of it. For what it's worth, the Celtics have a plus 9-ish point differential this year, and it was plus 11-ish last year, so it's down around 2. Just for context of what they're winning by this year versus last year. That said, for what it's worth, through December 9th last year, they had an 8.5 point differential, and this year it is plus 9. So they are technically winning by more than they were at this point last year. Not that I disagree with you. I do. Obviously, the defense I don't think has been at the same level. Last year, the Celtics had the second best defense at a 110.6 defensive rating. Now, they do have a similar defensive rating this year. It's 110.8 this year. So it is like pretty similar.
Teams, yeah.
It's just other teams have been a lot better. So they are 10th in defensive rating with that similar thing versus,
and mind you,
second.
The offense is still good. Like, we're about to talk about that. But the key to the Celtics being consistent and not having to suffer from the volatility of shooting threes where it's just so hit or miss sometimes. Like, if you don't want to lose just because you miss threes, it is controlling the game on the defensive end, controlling what your opponent does, and really letting your offense be more of a bonus. You want to really start with the defense, which they do, and they still have shown plenty of that this year. It's just the last 3 games were not it. And you can attribute that to whatever you want. There's certainly real factors that play into it. The players clearly were ready to be done playing games after Memphis on Saturday. That's all they could say. But yeah, speaking of the offense, I'm sick and tired of people crying about the fucking threes. I am so tired of it. You cannot go on, and it's not Celtics people, by the way.
What a full circle moment.
Well, they're crying about the threes for the wrong reason. I think if you have, I don't think it's really valid anymore. I think there was a time where it was very valid to be concerned about the devotion to the 3-point shot because they weren't. It might be one of the reasons why they didn't win a championship before last year is because they just really didn't have the personnel for it. Like, now you look at the Celtics, like, everybody that's out there just about is a sniper. That or they're hyper efficient at finishing on the inside. What I'm sick of is the NBA neutrals or the casual NBA fan sitting there fucking crying because, oh, they shoot too many threes. It's not fun to watch, blah, blah, blah. And they're winning games. Like, I don't know. If you're the Celtics, I don't think you care about the fun police approving of your play style. I think you would much rather see that win column continue to stack up. In newsflash, other teams are starting to do this. Other teams are buying into it. They're trying to repeat what the Celtics are doing because it becomes the keeping up with the Joneses. You have to be able to do it if you want to compete with the Celtics. You just do. And the reason why you don't see as many teams doing it is because they don't have the personnel to do it. They can't get away with it. And that's why the Celtics continue to be great, is because they are forcing teams, not just encouraging them, not trying to get them to do something. No, if you play the Celtics and you want to beat the Celtics, you have to do what the Celtics do. That or you have to be hyper efficient, hyper attacking the paint in a different type of way. It's one or the other. You have to either shoot all the threes or you have to be efficient inside, or you have to like have the Celtics be a meltdown night like it was against the Hawks, right? When they had 20 turnovers, give up 20 offensive rebounds, and that's how Atlanta beat them. It's just very hard to beat them, and that's why. So quit crying about it. I'm sick and tired of all these fucking national people.
Yeah. Also, for what it's worth, the Celtics quote unquote 3-point revolution didn't really start until Joe Mazzulla came over, and then they rapidly switched to a personnel group that would fit the style. So there was really only 1 year where the play style didn't match the personnel, because in the years leading up to that, 21-22, they were 9th in 3-point attempts per game. 2020, 2021, they were 10th in 3-point attempts per game. 19-20, they were 13th in 3-point attempts per game. So this is not a, oh my God, the Celtics always shoot threes. It is Joe Mazzulla. It is what he's implemented. And hey, guess what? It fucking works. It very clearly works. And for what it's worth, I was talking with Turpin last game. I don't get why people hate this style so much. Like, sure, there are going to be some threes throughout the course of the game where they just get it up, right? Like they'll just say, okay, we want to get a three on this possession. I'll take a solo isolation three. This is not a new fucking thing. It just looks different because of the volume. James Harden did this 2 years ago, like constantly. Luka Doncic, isolation possession. And like I would say 70% of the Celtics three come because they either drive and kick or have great ball movement that lead to a great three, right? That is what, in my opinion, at least, I feel like that is what a lot of people are saying. Oh, basketball's dead now. It's just isolation 3-3-3. No, a lot of these come from the same stuff that people like watching. You just don't like it because three and you're a fucking loser, right? I'd rather watch the Celtics basketball than Giannis isoing and getting into the lane and doing whatever he does for like 20 seconds of the shot clock and then throwing up a floor. Like, I don't get that. I think this is far more entertaining. The ball movement with move the ball around into an open shot. I don't care what the end result of the shot is, right? Like, that's not what is entertaining to me about basketball. Like, what's entertaining me about basketball is like the process of getting there and how they break down defenses. And I think that's the best part. Like, dunks are cool. Yeah, dunks are fine. But I feel like everyone, like, I've said this since we started the show. I think the people who are like, oh, I miss the old days. You're a fucking loser. No, you don't. You miss the days that like you just don't like because change, right? Like I cannot express how much more entertaining basketball is now than when it was like dog shit. Bro, just go watch like any offensive possessions in the 90s. Jesus fucking Christ. Like, the spacing was horrendous. It was ugly to watch. There was nowhere for people to go. You just like it because you have a fucking pea brain. You punch each other. Like, shut the fuck up. You're a fucking idiot. Like, it's so brain dead. I think that is what like one of the stupidest single like desires that is just like caveman brain that people want in sports. It's so dumb. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from.
I love when we get you to get upset like every once in a while.
It's just so stupid. It's just because the same people who want that are like, they're gonna let people smoke cigarettes on the side again. No, bro, you just get the fuck out of here. Like, it's just so stupid.
Handshake, cigarettes, and low post play. Same thing.
Yeah. Cigarettes
same
inside,
group of people.
Let us like. I could go so much deeper, but I don't want to say stuff that's.
I think the ball movement is the biggest pillar to really like build this conversation on. Is like that's how the Celtics get their threes. You pointed out it's very intelligent. Like that is a fun style of basketball to watch. People always talk about Spurs basketball, moving the ball, like, and they'll show clips of the possessions and it's beautiful basketball. When the Celtics do it, it's like human resources. It's the meme. I do kind of wish there was a little bit more of a spot for the low post in the NBA, but
there is. It's just the Celtics don't have a team to do
elite. It's like you have to be Jokic or Embiid, and that's really like it.
Or Sengun or Sabonis. Like it goes down a little bit.
Numbers for those. I'm gonna see if I can find it while I talk, so you don't have to do it. I
know that you can talk and I'll look.
I just know that last year I was writing an article between Al Horford in like 2017, 18, like when he first joined the Celtics, and like what Kristaps was doing before he joined the Celtics, which by the way, they still have him doing. It's a lot of fun to watch. The numbers were nowhere near like what you would think. It's like 6 a game, and the top guys
Yeah.
were like 12 a game.
So the Celtics actually have the fifth most post up possessions per game in the NBA.
Oh no, that's really bad for the people that hate what they see.
They have 6.2
Kristaps
post up
definitely doesn't want
possessions
to
per
see that.
game. Well, this is per game, not even total. The Bucks lead at 8.6, then the Nuggets at 8.6, Anthony Davis. Then the Lakers, Nuggets, Jokic, Lakers, Anthony Davis. Then the Kings, Sabonis. Then the Knicks, Towns. Then the Pacers, Siakam. Then the Rockets, Şengün. Like you can see the teams that post up a lot, and the teams that don't. The Hornets, yeah, who the fuck are they gonna post up? The Thunder, yeah, who are they gonna post? You know what I'm saying? Like you can, it's just a personnel thing. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think I feel bad for the Paul Millsaps of the world or Al Jeffersons
Sure.
that were just
It's
nasty
gone
at
down
playing in the post,
significantly.
and
Yes.
it just had the absolute rug pulled out from underneath them in terms of, "Hey, this is a cool thing that you do. It's very effective." And then, all of a sudden, you're out of the league because you can't play the style that everyone is gravitating towards playing. And it didn't happen overnight. Like, it was a long process. Those guys were in the league when Steph Curry was going nuts and really trailblazing for the three-point shot. But nowadays, you don't see anybody that's, like, built like that, which, I don't know. It feels like everybody has to play the game the same way, which takes some of the fun out of it, but overall, it doesn't take away from what the Celtics are doing. It's not their fault. They're just playing
Yeah.
the strongest version of basketball that they can play as a team.
I will say that there is I can understand. I don't think the threes are people's problem. I think the problem is, like, I bet if I go look at tracking and I look at passes per game, I bet the Celtics have some of the fewer passes per game in the league, right? Let me double check so I don't look like a moron. The Celtics have they are, let's see, 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 21. They're 20th in the league in passes total this year, right? And passes per game, they are down around there as well, like 22nd, right? And the reason for that is because they run a lot of isolation. I'm going to drive, I'm going to leverage that, and then I'm going to make one pass and we're going to get an open three. That's what people have a problem with, not the threes itself. The problem people have with the Celtics that they're misguiding into the 3-point revolution is the Celtics have so much fucking talent that all they have to do to get a good open three, which is one of the best shots in basketball, is drive, defenses overreact, pass. That's it. That's what that is as simple as it is for the Celtics because the roster is that good. And guess what? If you look at play type, you look at isolation, guess who runs the second most isolation frequency per game? Celtics, 11.7 possessions per game. They get 1.08 points per possession on those. That is the top of the league. And second is 1.05 in the Mavs, and the gap between them and that, like, significantly higher. Like they are really fucking good out of isolation. Because that's all it takes. It's all it takes for them to get to that point. Like, that's what people have a problem with, not the threes. You're misguiding your anger. You have a problem with the Celtics that have built such a good roster that their offense is so simple that all they have to do is drive and kick or set a screen and get an open three because people overreact. You don't have a problem with the shot profile. You have a problem with the roster that leads to the offense looking so boring because it's so fucking simple. That's the problem.
We got here because I was on NBA.com to look at the power rankings quick, just to like kind of check in with the, heartbeat of the league. And this is what I found next to the Celtics. No matter how often you watch them, it's still jarring how unabashedly the Celtics are launching three-pointers this season.
Jarring is fair.
Contested early in the clock or off the dribble or whatever. The win over Milwaukee was the 8th time they've taken at least 60% of their shots from beyond the arc, having never done it last season, including the playoffs. And with every other team having done it just once this season, the Bulls were the only other team to do that. I mean, I guess like it's different, but I don't know, man. I'm so sick of the crying and everyone just being like, "Oh, they're ruining the game, and this is why the ratings are down." Like I saw one when they played Memphis on Saturday that was like Celtics were like 15 of like 57 from three, and it was when NBC Sports Boston puts the stats up next to the score bug, and someone was like, "This is why the ratings are down." It's like, well, I don't know, man.
I think jarring is fair because like we've never seen this. Anything that is completely new is jarring. The Celtics are taking 6 more threes per game than any team in NBA history ever to play the sport of basketball. They are taking 6 more threes than anybody else. And the two teams directly below them are the Houston Rockets and the Houston Rockets when James Harden was on the team. And that at the time was like, whoa, this is awful. This is, you remember those conversations? I was like, this is ridiculous. This is so bullshit. Those teams were pretty damn good, right? They made the conference finals. They obviously never got over the hump because they ran into one of the best teams ever assembled, but they were pretty damn good basketball teams. And so jarring is completely fair. The step too far is when it's like, these guys are ruining basketball. No, they're just taking what has worked for people in the past. Yeah, they're taking what has worked for people in the past and perfecting it. And guess what? They won a fucking title doing it. So it is what it is. I think people are more mad at the process and the shots themselves. Anyways, also, for what it's worth, Celtics, when they won the title last year, took less threes per game than the Celtics the year prior. So it's 0.1 less, but it is less. Anyways, I do have to take a quick break here to tell you guys about Game Time. However, Game Time is the best place, to buy tickets. I know Sam and I both use it whenever we are looking to get our tickets for the latest NBA action, latest NFL action, concerts. I say it every time because it's my favorite artist and I'm going to keep saying it. But no con tickets, Game Time was the play and continues to be the play. NFL games are not Sam's style, but my uncle and my brother and my sister and my cousin and I always go to NFL games every year. And I have encouraged everybody to use Game Time because my uncle didn't know. He didn't know the vibe, and now he does. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite team play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Let me share my screen here for the YouTube viewers. Audio listeners can get my play-by-play of the action. Let me open up Game Time for you guys, and we're going to go to Patriots, right? We're going to see how the Pats are going to be, looking in terms of game time, because even though they're not the best at the moment, obviously, Drake May looks fun. Would be fun to see some games. Let's check out this Chargers game. Or actually, you know what? No, let's go to the Bills. Josh Allen's fun. He's probably the most entertaining player in the NFL right now. Let's see what things are looking like on Game Time right now. As you can see here, you can sort by price. You can source low to high and price high to low. And you can search by discount, which is one of my favorite things. It shows you good deals around the stadium. It shows you stars with some of the best deals, some of the best prices. Obviously, you can sort by the pricing as well. So if you'd rather sit up top, you can go to this hot deal right here, 51. But me being afraid of heights, I don't know if I'd like it up at those upper stands at Gillette Stadium. So let's look a little bit lower. Nothing too crazy, though. I'm seeing these star deals. I see a 136. That's a pretty good deal. Another one of my favorite things about Game Time is you can actually click on the view. You see it on the side right here. You can see exactly what you're going to see from the view of your seat. I'm gonna have to go to this Bills game. It's gonna be a fun one to see Drake May live in action. That'll always be a good time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Let's jump into the email here. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. I don't know why I'm doing an outro. Email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. It's hbtcpod@gmail.com. I don't know if we have any new emails, but we need to finish Philip's email because we didn't finish it apparently. He commented today that we missed the bottom of his email when we read it.
Okay.
So
well, this is good because I don't think we have any new ones.
We didn't. But Philip at the bottom said, afterthought, this was after the Jalen song, which go listen to our video yesterday. Imagine there was a place for both violent gangster rap and country music. Well, that's Tennessee for you. I grew up preferring the rap side, but the insane violence in the music is undeniable. When the group 666 Mafia went national, they changed their name to 36 Mafia, and everyone in Memphis was like, what? They cut out the Satan worshiping. They went soft. Despite being an uncool middle-aged guy making the KP Kada and now JB Trax has given me a chance to fall in love again with the Memphis rap style of slow looping eerie songs with bells, xylophones, flutes without having to talk about chopping up bodies, selling crack, or worshiping the devil. I have plans for other styles of music like folk music, but I think I will keep returning to the Memphis rap style and hope that doesn't burn you guys out and the community out. It will not. It's very cool, Philip. Also, what do you think of the video? Worth or maybe just a still image like I did the KP track? Also, thanks for humoring me, Phil. Always, Phil. I
I
like
was
the video.
almost certain
I think it's cool.
3-6 Mafia was a Marcus song that he was going to make for Memphis.
No. Yeah, I like the videos. I like having something to look at that moves around. Maybe that's just how my brain works, but I enjoy it. So keep it up, Phil. And I'll wait for the Noah Khan-esque song. But the Memphis style rap works for me too.
The Jalen song was fire.
It was very
Go
good.
watch yesterday's video if you didn't see it because it's in there.
Mm-hmm. Yes. All right, let's jump over to the NBA standings check-in along with some recaps of recent games. I'll pull up the standings here in a sec so we can take a look. Then we can talk about the games themselves. But here is what the East and Western Conference pictures are looking like. Cavs still up top, 21-4, game and a half above the 19-5 Celtics. Magic are humming along, one in a row, 8-2 in the last 10, 17-9. Although we didn't even put on the sheet. Franz Wagner, oblique, out
No, we
indefinitely.
talked
Him
about
and
that last
Paolo.
time. No, we talked about the game.
Yes. So the Magic are in a rough spot. I mean, there's not much more else to say outside of that, but it sucks. Knicks 14-9, Heat 12-10. They have won 3 in a row. Bucks 12-11. They've won 1 in a row after losing to the Celtics. Hawks above 500 too at 13-12. 6-4 in their last 10. Nets, Pacers, Bulls filling out that play, and then the Pistons, Sixers, Hornets, Raptors, Wizards, Sixers who have won 2 in a row, including Embiid coming back and actually looking a little bit more healthy, which is good for him. Yeah, that's what we got in the East.
Sixers are back. Orlando winning yesterday despite not having Franz or Paolo. Watch out for them. They're actually like pretty deep this year. I'm excited to see the Celtics play them for the first time. So Washington finally won. That was terrible. Fuck the Nuggets. Jokic had like 60 points and they couldn't get a win against Washington. Are you serious? We're going to talk about the Nuggets in a minute, but man, they ruined the fun of an early season losing streak. Like, thanks a lot. It was up to what, 15, 16 games? How am I supposed to take the Nuggets serious? Then I have to look at all these posts about Jokic scoring all the points. Like, I don't think Jokic's 60 ball should even count. It was like 56 anyways. It shouldn't even count. Like, if you have a team break a losing streak that long against you, nothing good that you did that game should count.
Well, I don't think any of the posts were, oh my God, look how good Jokic is. I think it was a lot of how the fuck did the Nuggets lose when Jokic did this?
Well, there was a lot of like Jokic just going crazy.
Well, yeah, he was, and they still fucking lost. Yeah, wild. Sixers turning around. Embiid looked good in his return to action. Second return to action, whatever. He looks actually healthy this time, which is the point.
He had 31-12 against Chicago yesterday. Milwaukee. So Milwaukee, kind of real, kind of not real. Couldn't beat the Celtics, couldn't beat the Hawks. They barely beat Brooklyn yesterday. So I think they were hot for a while. 8-2 in their last 10 will tell you that. They played a couple teams that are actually competent in the Celtics and the Hawks. They lost both those games. They really looked like they were going to lose in Brooklyn yesterday. I was surprised they won that. I watched the end. But, Giannis was Giannis, and the Nets were a team with no real closer. That's what happens. We'll see what happens in the Cup tomorrow. They play Orlando. Another good test for them, even though they have the fortune of playing Orlando with no Franz or Paolo.
It's true. We'll see what happens. They've definitely looked better. Like, you can tell that they're figuring it out at least a little bit. Giannis has been great.
They still run out of gas at the end of games.
They do. I mean, when you have only one guy who can really do much, that'll happen. Western Conference, OKC still up top at 18-5. Grizzlies won 3 in a row, including a big win over Boston. 17-8, 2 games behind the Thunder. Rockets 16-8. Mavs 9-1 in their last 10. They're red hot, 16-8. Warriors finally got a win after a little bit of a slide, 14-9. Clippers 14-11. Then you got the Nuggets, Lakers, Wolves, Suns filling out the play-in. Spurs and Kings right there. Then Blazers, Jazz, Pelicans bringing up the rear. Pelicans first team in the NBA to 20 losses this year.
I don't think anyone would have predicted that. Like, no sarcasm.
No.
I think the injuries that they have had this year are very unfortunate or fortunate, whatever way you want to look at it. If you're on the tank team, then Pelicans are doing a damn good job. It's a real shame to see the Lakers 3-7 in their last 10. It really makes me sad every time we pull this up and they just continue to add more losses to their column. Um, you know, they got to win with LeBron out yesterday against a very good Portland Trailblazers team. So maybe they're back. Who knows? Phoenix is going to be in trouble. They continue to be bad without Kevin Durant. Durant hurt himself again. They lost to a Franzless and Paulo-less Orlando team yesterday, Sunday, and they're 3-7 in their last 10. So good luck to them. It's tough with injuries, man. This Western Conference is not for those that cannot stay healthy, because if you have a stretch of games where you don't have your top guys and you continue to lose, you're going to see yourself get further and further from the pack. It's starting to get a little bit more stretched out now. It's 6 games separating 10th and 1st, but even then, that's nothing compared to like 10th in the East to 1st in the East.
Yeah, it's wild to see the Western Conference every time we pull it up. I'm a little bit surprised the Clippers have kept up this level of play. They've been like actually good this year, and it's because the defense is good and James Harden can just kind of will the offense along, drag them along long enough to win some of these games. The Mavs have finally figured it out, which is good for them. They were in a little bit of a rough spot earlier this year, but they look a lot better. Same with the Grizzlies. Not that they were in like a really rough spot, but they really found something here. Jaren Jackson looked really good in that game against the Celtics, as did Ja. So, excuse me, fun to see. You want to get into some of the
put
games?
Into point differential?
Not too much early in the season, because like strength of schedule, not every team has played every team. Like it's tougher to contextualize it. I do think it is like significant, like to a degree. Like, are the Lakers this bad? Probably not this bad, but they're definitely not as good as they are in the standings. You know what I'm saying? Like, do I think the Timberwolves are actually this good? Like, it's just tough, because I probably think the Nuggets are a little bit in their point differential. I probably don't think the Thunder are the greatest team we've seen in the last decade. You know what I'm saying? I don't think looking in the Eastern Conference, I don't think the Pacers are not a playoff team. I don't think the Bull or the Pistons are going to be, the 6 seed or 7 seed or whatever it is. So I think you can add a little context to it with that, but I don't think it is like the end all be all this early.
Yeah, very fair. I was just curious because it was like, wow, the Lakers have the 4th worst in the conference, and yet they're still hanging around the play-in. Yeah, yesterday we talked about it. Embiid came back. He had 30 plus points, 31, and 12 rebounds against Chicago, and they actually won. So maybe they're going to figure it out. Maybe the health will be the answer for them. We'll see how long Embiid's health lasts, but it's something that's very tough for him to deal with. He talked about it after the win. He goes, it's been extremely depressing. It's something that hasn't been figured out. I'd love to play every single game, every single minute, but sometimes your body just says no, and you can't do anything about it. All you can do is keep working to fix it and get better. It's true. I mean, as someone who's been hurt, like, it does suck when you want to do something and you just physically cannot. You try and then you end up getting hurt. I sort of feel for him. It's tough because the narrative around him has become so volatile, where it's like this dude hates playing basketball, and every time there's an opportunity for him to come back, he doesn't, or it takes too long, or the injury lingers. And listen, it is part of being 7 feet tall and like almost 300 pounds of strength. Like, yeah, your body is going to break down. It's going to happen. I don't know how many healthy years in the NBA Embiid is going to have left. I'm going to keep coming back to it because it really stuck out to me. I think there's something to be said about playing in the Olympics when you know this is a problem. But at the same time, based on what he said, you always want to play every single game. So I think it's easy not to have the foresight of maybe I need to get healthy for my season when that opportunity is in front of you. But at the same time, if I was a fan of that team, I would be pretty pissed that like that had an effect on the Sixers' slow start. They've been terrible to start the season, and he hasn't been able to be out there. And when he was out there before, he wasn't very good. I'd be pretty upset. But hopefully for his sake, he's back. I know a lot of people listening to this pod don't like Embiid. I flip-flop on whether I care for him or not. Sometimes he gets pretty annoying with all the bullshit, but health-wise, I don't think you want to root for anybody to be injured, so I will stick to that.
Yeah. It's good to see Embiid somewhat healthy. I don't know what the Sixers are going to look like by the end of the season, but I do think they are a lot better than what they have shown so far, just because like they haven't been healthy, right? Like they literally have not had the chance to play.
Coming in, all I could talk about was like, wow, I really thought they had a good offseason. Like, you got Paul George to replace Tobias Harris and you didn't have to pay anything to get him except for money. Then you made a couple good moves to get some guys to come off the bench. Like we all thought Yabu was going to be a decent signing for them and play a decent role. They got Caleb Martin from Miami. There was something to be said about what they did in the offseason. They just really haven't gotten a chance to see the whole team. Like Jared McCain's been good for them. And that was something we didn't even really account for when the offseason was going on. We were just like, oh, yeah, like late first round pick, going to see how it pans out. And it's panned out pretty well so far.
Yeah. I think they'll pretty steadily keep moving up as Embiid works his way back, which I mean makes sense. Like you mentioned, Bucks squeak by the Nets. Cavs lost to the Heat. Hero's been really, really good this year.
He's been very consistent, except for when they played the Celtics. He was not very good in that game. But
Yes.
aside from that, he's done a really good job. He's been the guy for Miami all year long, where Jimmy's been in and out of the lineup, in and out of the good form that we've seen from him put on the playoffs. Meanwhile, on the other side, Mitchell was awful. It's really weird to look at a box score and see him be 5 of 16 for 12 points after seeing him kill the Celtics a little over a week ago. It can be a little bit frustrating to think of it like that. But it's going to happen. Teams are going to lose games. It was in Miami. I don't know if they were on a back-to-back or not. But yeah, Cavs finally lost. So if you're upset about Saturday's Celtics loss, know that it doesn't really mean a whole lot when it comes to standings. Other than you can be like, oh, they missed a chance to climb up even closer to Cleveland. I don't think you should be worried about them catching the Cavs. I just don't. Like, I think over the course of a season, the Cavs are going to lose more games. Or maybe they won't. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll have a tremendous season. I could see that from them too. It could be this great regular season team.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't think it'll matter if the Celtics get 1 or 2. I mean, obviously you want home court in potential conference finals against Cavs, but
and this year it hasn't fucking mattered anyway. They fucking lose at home like it's no problem.
Let's go back to the Nuggets here. So the Nuggets apparently are eyeing trade season. So this is from Mark Stein of the Steinline. Nuggets are, quote, eager to, quote, shake things up this season. Despite their limitations, they're ready to offer Zeke Naji, obviously going to sweeten deals with draft compensation as well. Yeah, it makes sense. The Nuggets want to shake things up. They haven't been very great. So it's just a matter of what can they get? What do they want? Who wants Zeke Naji and picks?
I don't feel bad for the fucking Nuggets. And I know that's not what this is. I think they should be looking to make trades, but they did this to themselves. Like, they played Jenga with their team. They let Bruce Brown walk. Not that I think they should have paid him as much money as he got, but I think they should have made a more competitive offer. They let Jeff Green leave. They let KCP leave over the summer. Like, you just keep losing more and more pieces of the team that won a championship for you. And I guess with the CBA, you kind of have to do this because you don't want to pay tons and tons and tons of money in the luxury tax. The Celtics are a real exception to the rule in that case, where they're just like, we don't care, even though Wick does care enough to sell the team. I know it's not always sustainable to have a winning team in the NBA, but they have decimated their team. And a lot of that could be put on them not necessarily hitting on some of these guys. Like Zeke Naji hasn't been great for them this year. I know they had a lot of faith in Christian Brown, who's been fine. But aside from that, they haven't found too many guys out of the draft that have played. Like, they're playing Straw there, and I don't think he's doing anything. He's not moving the needle for them. MPGA has been kind of subpar, and they pay him a good amount of money. Like, Jamal Murray got his extension, hasn't been very good this year. They just have a lot of money tied up in guys that aren't really producing to the level of their wage. And that makes it really tough for them to win games. And it's tough because they're wasting for now. They're wasting it. If they make moves, they're not. And if this report is true, they're clearly not trying to waste Jokic's prime. But man, guy is putting up a ton of points, even though Saturday's game doesn't count. He still had 48 in the win over Atlanta, blowout win over Atlanta on Sunday. So the guy's been playing out of his mind.
Yeah, it's just it's weird for me to look around the league and find a team that's gonna be like, oh yeah, hell yeah, let's take on Zeke Naji. Let's get this guy.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Zeke Naji has played in
14 games.
He
played 5 minutes a game. Oh, this is before yesterday's game. He's averaging 1.2 points per game.
Not very good. Now, if anything, he makes enough money where you could be like, all right, we'll give you a couple seconds. Let's see what you got. The Nuggets don't have that many picks to throw around. Looking at Spotrac's trade machine, let's just say they wanted to make a deal with the Raptors, right? Maybe Kelly Olynyk or a Bruce Brown or whatever, right? I don't think they can afford Bruce Brown, but just for the sake of my point, they could trade 2025. I would need to mess around to see, but they have 1 second available to trade. One
Mm.
second round pick they can trade. So a lot of those, we'll give you 2 seconds in this player. No, not going to happen. They have protections on picks in 29 and 30. They go to Nuggets Pro Sports Transactions, which if you ever want to know protections on picks, prosportstransactions.com. Very good. They don't own their pick this year. It is top 5 protected, but they're not going to be in the top 5, so that's going to go to the Magic, which good for Orlando. They own their 26, but they don't own their 27 because it is given to it. The Clippers own it through a pick or through a trade with the Thunder from years ago. So there's that. They own their 2028, but they don't own 29. So really, they can trade one unprotected first and then some like swaps, which maybe they're willing to do. But like, if the most you can get is a player worth $10 million, what $10 million players around the league are worth a first? You know what I'm saying? It's an awkward position that the Nuggets have put themselves in. So it's tough for them. But a team that could make some trades and has the money to do so is the Warriors. And they want to go star hunting, apparently. This is from Shams Charania of ESPN. I'm told that the Warriors are on the real hunt for a star, a playmaker, a scorer alongside Steph Curry, basically saying like they want to get this motherfucker some help, which, yeah, no shit. Like,
Makes sense. They got off to a good start this year. They looked like a great team when they played the Celtics at the Garden. Like, they beat the Celtics. Not easy to do. Only been done 5 times this year, so it makes sense that they wanna load up at the deadline. I think they've overachieved based on what the expectations were for the Warriors. They also had Melton get hurt, which isn't going to help their depth at all, so they certainly could. I don't know what team is gonna, like, take back his contract because they probably won't. It makes sense, like,
mhm.
you wanna get somebody next to Steph. Steph has been playing good. He's still at a level where he can be a real threat. He can be the best guy in a championship team still. He's putting up crazy numbers. This is the most bare bones the Warriors roster has ever been next to him. Buddy Hield's been great. Besides that, they don't
Mhm.
have much of a scoring punch. It's just Steph. Pods hasn't been very good this year. He's been worse than
Nope.
people expected, and I think that was a big part of their plan too. They expected him to at least be the same. I know we talked a lot about him over the summer because there was talks of, they like him and he wants to get paid, etc. But he wasn't ever going to be somebody that was gonna have this massively high ceiling. People just think real life works like a video game where a guy's young, so he's gonna get better and better and better every single year, and that might not happen.
Yeah.
It feels somewhat rare for guys to just all of a sudden get worse out of nowhere.
Yeah. You're talking Pajemski still?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not worried about Pajemski. I still think he's a good player. I don't think he's going to forget how to play basketball in a year. He's been inefficient, right? But it is what it is. Like, players have cold starts. Players, have bad years. I still think Pajemski is a fine basketball player and will continue to be a fine basketball player, but it was a risk for them to rely on him so heavily, and clearly the risk hasn't panned out so far. And so if you'd like to combine big salaries, which the Warriors do have and are capable of doing now, and I don't think they're a second apron team because they've gotten rid of Clay, and they don't have as much money in the book. So I actually think they do have a bit more flexibility to make moves. You could look around the league and you could find some teams that might want to make a trade, even if it's to get as small as adding role players like Bruce Brown or Kelly Olynyk. I just keep going back to them because the Raptors are going to be selling at the deadline. But you could see worlds where they make a little bit of a swing, and I think it could get interesting. But I don't know who it'll be. Maybe Jeremy Grant. He's been pretty good this year, and they could be willing to trade him. Maybe it's Brandon Ingram if you really, really want to swing, but I don't know if that makes a ton of sense for them. So we'll see. You want to go to the rat list here, Sam? What do you got?
Rat list. Rat list, the lady. My girlfriend has to be one of the all-time greats when it comes to ordering something, not finishing whatever she ordered, but then wanting to eat some of my food. We went to breakfast on Saturday. She gets like this French toast and chicken plate. The place we went to, she has like one of the French toasts and is like eating all my potatoes. Like, what are we doing? Finish your food. Finish what you ordered. She loves that. She also is like the best at being like, oh, like I'm not hungry. But then like
Mm,
before we went out yesterday, before we like took the train back to Rhode Island from Boston,
mhm.
she was like, "Oh, like, I don't really know if I wanna, like, eat at the same place, like, I want this, whatever." We ended up having to go to the same place, but she, like, wasn't hungry. She was like, "Yeah, I'm not really that hungry." So why are you making as big of a deal about where we eat if you don't even really wanna eat that much?
Yeah.
It's how it be.
There you go. I'm gonna rat list Noah because she got credit for something that I did, and I need to set the record straight here.
Okay.
So Drew Peterson came to the Portland Expo yesterday wearing a very cool T-shirt. He's wearing the Rizzler T-shirt.
The
I've seen you
Rizzler.
say.
Of
And
course I
so
saw.
we get there. He gets introed like starting lineup. Drew Peterson. He gets out there. He goes. He does the thing right. He does it all. And as the game goes on, Sam's frozen. I'm gonna wait for him to come back to finish my story because it's pointless for me talking to just you guys when his reaction is the point I wanted to tell the story. So excuse me while I wait here and filibuster for his computer to come back. I'm actually welcome back. All right, great. You back? Welcome back. Can you hear me? Or are you still frozen? Back for real this time. Sam's Wi-Fi has ironed itself out, so we'll see what those pauses look like in the edit. But as I was saying. Drew Peterson is a fan of the Rizzler, clearly. So he's wearing the shirt, did the Riz face for the intros, and then game happened. Whatever, get to post game. We didn't do Drew post game because Baylor and Jordan had better games, so that's who we went with. But the point is, I asked Jordan. I go, Jordan, thoughts on Drew's T-shirt? Jordan goes, he goes, he didn't even know what the Rizzler was. He just goes, Drew, I was in the training room. Drew comes in and he starts like biting his lip and going like this, like doing the Riz face. And he goes, I'm the Rizzler. Somebody tag him. And I go, bro, I don't even know what you're talking about. And I thought it was funny. I was getting a laugh, right? So we're driving back and Noah has the video. And I go, you got to tag the Rizzler. Like, you got to tag him.
Mhm.
And she goes, I don't even know what any of this means. And I was like, the fuck do you mean? What are you talking about? She goes, what is the Rizzler? What is this? Who is it?
I mean,
What is
she's
it?
at the games.
Dude,
She's in the
well,
group chat. We always talk about the Rizzler.
the worst part is the Rizzler retweeted her tweet
Mm.
only because I literally go, you have to tag him. She goes, no. I'm like, you have to. Drew said to tag him. You have to tag him. And lo and behold, Rizzler retweets it. Guess who gets all the credit for putting it out there?
Yep.
Somebody doesn't even respect the game. Just bullshit.
Doesn't even know who the Rizzler is.
Ridiculous.
Probably likes Deuce better than the Rizzler.
It's fucked up, man. Just no respect for the game from Noah. It's just obscene.
Rat list is my dad is learning to use voice text. So instead of texting people now, he just will talk into his phone instead of typing the stuff out. I'm not a fan of hearing people talk, like, if they're not talking to me. I think talking on the phone, like, around other people is, like, one of the rudest things you can do. And, like, if you're only around, like, a couple people. Like, if you're, like, you're around, like, me and my mom and, like, you're talking on the phone, rude.
I suppose.
You don't think that's rude?
Just go to a different room. Like, yeah, just excuse yourself. Just go somewhere else and then go.
But that's what I mean.
Talk on the
Now that
phone.
he's texting, he's just doing it all the time.
Yeah, that is a bit odd.
He did it to me yesterday. He was texting me, and he said something he thought was funny, and then instead of putting LOL, he said laugh out loud. So it read like, I'm gonna be cutting everyone's hair. Laugh out loud.
It's a very like that generation, I feel like, thing to like.
Yeah, I mean, it is a little funny, but like when you're here, it's like, all right, man. Like, I thought you were talking to me.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
whole point
well,
of texting is like
I come home after I hurt my back Wednesday, and we're watching the game, and I'm like sitting there in pain. He's just text to speech on his phone or speech to text on his phone. I'm like, what are we doing
Yeah,
here?
that's a bit odd. I don't really use text to speech.
Me
Like
neither.
the only time I've like can remember using text to speech in the last actually used it last night, but it's because like I'm lying down watching YouTube on my iPad, and I don't
Yeah.
want to like sit there like boop boop search what I want. So I'll just say it. But like never to text. I almost never
No.
text to
Can't.
speech to text things. So that's a no. What's another good one I got? We were driving to Portland. Noah doesn't have her license, and she goes, I feel like they should fix the way people have to merge on the highways. It doesn't seem safe. I was like, I guess. She starts like going off on like different things they could do to change the rules of the road. Well, we were
What
on
did she
like
have?
I don't know. I think that was like one of the only
All
like
right.
significant ones. But she was like, we're on Route 1, so it was like a 90-degree turn on to the highway instead of just like a merge. So like I can get it from that perspective. But it was entertaining. I can already read the comments now. I go like, of course I'm gonna like talk about things that happened when I went to Maine with my friend. But all the comments are like, this guy never shuts up. I'm like, as soon as I like started my route, I was like, oh, it's gonna be a long
Noah
episode.
is I don't have my license merchant if I've ever seen one. Like she
She
probably
is.
likes that she doesn't have her license because she never has to
Yes,
drive when
she does.
anyone goes on the road trips.
She does. 100%. 100%. Yeah. No, I mean, driving to Cleveland, Indiana. She's just fucking sitting there.
You know
And
what
we're
you
doing
should
all the
do out of
driving.
spite is lose your license.
No, I'm not gonna do
Like
that.
just drive like 150.
No, don't think that's gonna be in the
It's a
game
win-win.
plan
It's
for
either
me.
you get to where you're going really fast or you don't have to drive anymore when you guys go on the road trips. And you
No.
live in the city now, you can just take the T.
Yeah. No. I don't think I'm gonna get on board with that idea. Thanks for the suggestion, though. I appreciate you trying to look out, but don't think that one's gonna be for me. I don't know. I don't have anything else. You have anything else?
Ratless, the blistering cold, went to the winter market at the seaport on Saturday. Pretty cool. I'm not necessarily I don't mind the Christmas markets. I think it's kind of fun. I like the outdoor, like kind of small business mall that it is. Plus, there's like food and stuff there, so you get to like look at like all these little things. The guy that makes the Pritch Please hoodies was there. Like they had them for sale. They actually look pretty cool. I didn't buy one because like I really can't like wear that stuff like to games and everything. So I don't know why I'd wear it. But lots of art there. So you're just looking at like different drawings and stuff. Um, there was so they had like all these different food trucks, and they had this truck that was like baked cheese. It smelled fucking awful. It smelled so bad. I was in line to get churros, and it just smelled like death over in the corner of the lot. Mind you, there was a 45-minute wait before
Yikes.
we even got into this, like, thing.
Hmm.
So, I was just out in
Mhm.
the cold all afternoon on Saturday.
Huh. Yeah, huh. Baked cheese. Sorry. That's very odd.
They
Quite
had some good
the
stuff, though. They had jerk chicken. They had, like, pizza. They had grilled cheeses. They had burgers. Like, they had all kinds of stuff, but, like, it was a fun time.
Yeah. Hell, fuck it.
Big
That's all I got
endorsement
though.
from me. Someone who doesn't like to do anything.
It's true. It's true. Anyway, appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to Bout Them Celtics here, Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. I will say I keep telling you guys to like leave us reviews on Apple. I don't think they show up right away. And so if people have left reviews, let us know. Because my dad tried to leave one and he's like, oh, it doesn't show up. It still says you got 4 reviews. So if you have, thank you. Just doesn't show up right away. But I'll let Sam wrap it up.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like, comment, tell us what you think of the big break we have here. What do you think of the threes? What do you think of Noah thinking that they should fix the highway merges? Whatever it is that you have to say, we will read your comments. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the bell too, because Jack and I are here every single day. New pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday, like this one. Game recaps up the morning after each game, and other videos are up in between to keep you updated on all things Celtics. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple, like Jack just said. If you are there, the pods and recaps are up for you. Leave a 5-star review. We'd appreciate that very, very much. It really helps us grow, helps us get into the algorithm on those apps. So definitely do it. Leave a 5-star review. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. We will be recording our next podcast on Wednesday evening. So make sure you get those emails in because we love to hear from you. Big part of the show. hbtcpod@gmail.com. Our socials are at How About Them C's. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook's the name of the pod. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at Jack's NBA. Mine is at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Taco, come on.
Taco's having some fun here.
That is bogus. These guys are ridiculous.